Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball. We've got new bats in the sport. It's opening weekend. We are going to talk some ball. We're back, baby. Let's do it. Pete Fairbanks.
Bo Bichette.
Oh. Your guy. Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball. We're back, baby. We're back. There's ball on every night. We made it through the cold, dark winter. My name is Jake Storielli. Some people know me as Jake Girth Storielli, and that's Trevor Length Plouffe. Everyone has their own bat preference. Everyone likes a different flavor. Trev, we've got a lot to get into. I'm excited to be doing it again. Year 5? Is that right? I don't know. How are you?
I can never do the math. I don't know when I started doing this, but it is a new year. New year, new us. Kind of the same us, but a few things that are a little bit different. We're going to try some new things on the show today, but we did get blessed, Jacob, with a beautiful weekend of baseball. A lot of things happened, some big news that's causing controversy throughout this. The bat stuff transcended the sport. It was everywhere. So I can't wait to talk to you about that. Bo Bichette hitting 467.
Okay.
Love that for him.
A lot of
let's get into it, Bob. I'm so excited.
It's a lot of Bo early. Yeah, like Trev said, we say this every year, and there's some of you that are probably laughing that we're like, hey, we're trying out different stuff. We're going to do this year. And we have. We shouldn't ignore that. I think we end up laughing our end because we like talking ball. But we are going to do some different stuff this year. So please comment below, engage with us. It's what this show is built on. And we just want to get it bigger and better and the best. So let us know. And with that, we are going to start with the topic that took down the sport, left the sport, and Trev, you were, I don't want to say you're the face of it, but no, I loved your social media post. I couldn't believe you were getting roasted for your millennial pause. That was so toxic. I'm so over the internet. If you have no idea, welcome, subscribe. The Yankees created this headline. They scored 20 runs on Saturday's game against the Milwaukee Brewers. Sorry to our Brewer friends. No one was talking about it on opening day, but the Yankees, or 4 players on the Yankees, are using a new bat. It's being referred to as the Torpedo Bat. It was literally created by an MIT scientist. Shout out to our guy Aaron Lenhart. And they've essentially moved the barrel, and each player's bat is slightly different, that they've taken some meat and putting it more towards the hands of the bat, I guess, if you're not watching with us on the YouTube. And, after the Yankees scored 20 runs, it's, are the Yankees cheating? Is this illegal? What are these bats around? And Trev, I know you know a little bit, and I loved your video on it, but there are other teams using these bats. They are known throughout the league, but the bad boy Yankees kind of brought them to the forefront. So I could hear you talk about this all day, and let's do it.
And this, again, the Torpedo Bats have taken over. I'm just looking at our socials here. We just put out a shirt that says, you and the Torpedo Bat she tells you not to worry about. I mean, what?
I got a late night Slack about that, and they were like, would you wear this? I was like, kind of. I wouldn't.
Yeah, it would take someone like you to wear that for sure.
I would. Yeah. I was like, I'd
be a little sick in the head.
Yeah. That's a good event shirt.
So, first of all, I think I'm kind of sick of the Torpedo Bats already.
Okay.
And
good.
For a couple different reasons, right? Now, it is interesting that some people have known about Torpedo Bats since last year. They were used last year in the season. And then some people, like Manny Machado, who's very much in the game of Major League Baseball, said he'd never heard of them.
Right.
So it's interesting to me that there are people that didn't know about these bats, and there are people that were using them last year. I thought that was, to me, fascinating, because usually if someone does something that's can help them. It goes throughout the league very quickly. Everybody knows. But this is one of the things that kind of did fly under the radar. And then the Yankees obviously had an incredible offensive series. So it got made to be a huge deal. And the first stories about these bats were, are they legal? Should the Yankees be able to use them? We got relievers, crying about them because obviously pitchers cry. That's what they do.
Right.
Number one, they are not illegal. I reached out to someone very high at the Players Association and said, hey, man, like, what's going on? Are they going to be able to keep using these bats? And basically what was said to me was like, all bats, all manufacturers have to be, screened at spring training. So yes, they're legal. Yes, they're going to be able to continue to use them. And it's not just one bat company that's doing it. It's not Marucci's been known to fit guys for bats. They've been on the forefront of that. It's not just Marucci. I've seen Victus has them. I think any bat company can make them. I think I saw Louisville Slugger as well. So it's not one bat company. It's not one team. Ryan Jeffers has used it. Francisco Lindor has used it. It has been spread throughout the league. So I thought that was interesting. And again, the reason I thought it was I think people made such a big deal out of it was the Yankees. They freaking teed off on the Brewers pitching, man.
Yeah.
Like, it was a bunch of young guys for the Brewers. No offense to the Yankees. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. They absolutely crushed it. I'm happy for them. People, Yankee fans, in my comments. I believe when we did the Yankee TPP, you said something about these aren't your Bronx Bombers. They played. Yeah. It's going to be a little different. I said, yeah, I agreed. And now people all over me. Oh, these aren't your Bronx Bombers. Look at what they did, Coach Trev. Anyways,
well,
back to the bats. Basically, the reason behind this is the reason they're moving the quote unquote barrel of the bat to certain spots is they're looking at your swing mechanics. They're looking at where you make contact with the ball. And they're saying, hey, if this is where you make contact with the ball regularly, like Volpe was getting jammed a bunch last year, or at least hitting it towards the label of the bat. So that's basically like, getting jammed. He was hitting the ball a ton towards the label. So essentially it's like, let's just move the barrel down there a little bit. So now it's not so much on the label. You're going to be able to barrel some balls up there. And that's the thought process behind it. But I think it does a couple things when you do that. When you start to move the biggest part of the bat or the barrel towards, or the sweet spot towards your hands, just think about anything. When you choke up on something, you have more control with it, right? You can think about that with a tennis racket. You can think about that, a two-strike approach. When you bunt, you put your hands up closer towards the barrel. It's just barrel accuracy is going to improve. So I think that's a byproduct of this. I don't think that was the intention, but that is what will happen. You put the barrel closer to your hands, you're able to direct it. And so you're able to put the barrel on the ball more frequently. So it's a nothing to me, to be honest with you. Like, it blew up, but people are making this out to be like this is performance enhancing drugs. Like, they can't be using this. Francisco Lindor is 0 for 11 on the season. Ryan Jeffers, I don't think, is much better than that on the season. They're both using these bats. It's not an end all be all. There's guys that have used these and don't like them.
Right.
They're like, I'm not going to use that. It feels weird. So it's not. You still have to hit. I see people on Twitter, former players, being like, "Oh, this is what we have to do now. Offense has got so bad." It's like, dude, you don't understand. It's not. This isn't just like a thing that's going to make you Babe Ruth all of a sudden. It's an advancement in bat tech, which has been years. It should have happened years ago. So again, I think, like, honestly, this is a nothing story. It just so happened that the Yankees crushed the ball so much, and this was not known, and those two things combined made it seem like the Yankees were cheating, and then it was just from there went crazy, man.
Yeah, I want to stop you when you say it's not a story, because it is a story. I think like I said, you're the face of baseball, and you've been taking it for the whole weekend. Thick bats. I guess for me, you're right. Like, I kind of had a proud moment where I was like, Yankee name still works a little bit. Like, if this was another team, I don't think we'd be opening the show with it. Maybe we would if they scored 20 runs and we're like, wait, what's going on? That's
what it was. Yankees, yes, but the runs scored and the way they did it. And
so it should be highlighted. Nestor Cortez returning to the Bronx. First 3 pitches for home runs. Goldie Belly Judge. Hey, how are your 3 former MVPs too? Maybe we should highlight that. That set a tone. The ball was flying in the Bronx. It was a random 80-degree day in March. We don't get that. And then, when you set the tone that there's 3 homers off the first 3 pitches, like, okay, maybe the Yanks are seeing the ball well. And maybe the bat is helping a little bit. Like, Volpe hit an inside-out porch job that I'm wondering, okay, it felt like he got not necessarily beat on that, but it got out. If that was a different bat, does it get out? I don't know. But the Yankees played on opening day. They scored 4 runs. No one was talking about the Torpedo Bats. The Yankees put up a 20-burger, and everyone was like, whoa, what's going on here? So I'm glad you're noting the other players and teams that this has been around. Other guys are using this, and you still have to hit the baseball. It's just a matter of, Trev, this might be shots fired, but hitters, what were we doing for the past 75 years or so? Like, I don't know. Like you said, this left baseball a little bit, and the Yankees helped a little bit, and I think people just like tech and advancements and new stuff that it's like, what is this? And it looks a little funny. The bowling pin outline of it's just something new to us in the game that like everyone has played growing up and you're familiar with. There's something that feels like the illegal Little League bat you grew up playing with where it's like, oh, no, that's the taped bat. You can't use that, bro. That's got too much pop or whatever it was that you grew up with. I had buddies texting me that were like, Jake, what's going on with this? Are your Yanks cheating? Is this what? And I was like, no, there's legal bat. There's other people doing this. And the other side of it for me is like, hitters, you were sleeping on this one. Like this, I laugh when it comes to sports and we talk about technology, and it's so funny to me that an MIT guy is involved in this. But, and there were some tweets about this over the weekend, but I always go back. The Golden State Warriors put it together that 3 points count more than 2. Kind of started a dynasty also with great shooters. NFL, they've started going for it on 4th down more. They said, okay, wait, we can just keep the ball and that lets us score more. Like, there's still advancements in sports every year, and some of them aren't insane. It's just we haven't really put the brain power to it that, I think for each individual hitter, there's going to be some guys that this works for, some guys that this doesn't work for. I assume if you more so catch it towards the fat part or the end of the bat, you probably don't care. You probably want to keep everything out there. So this, in a way, it's nothing like you said, but in a way, it's something that should have happened 20 years ago.
Yeah, I don't mean it's nothing. Obviously, it is a topic. I'm just saying that it got magnified, or the story exploded because of what you said. Yankees plus all the homers. That's what happened here. And about why it didn't happen earlier. It's interesting, man. Like I said, I know Marucci has fitted guys for bats, and that's, not many guys go through that process. In Major League Baseball, I'd say 85 to 90% of guys, maybe even higher, the way they've picked their bats is like this. Oh, that feels good.
Yeah.
So if you're only on podcast version, I picked up the bat and swung it around in my hands a little bit and said, oh yeah, that feels good. That's it. That's the whole process. Maybe you take one of the BP and you have a great session with it. I had a bat 2004 get sent to me by Max Bat. Shout out Jim, my guy. He sent me a 34-32. It was like an M110, which is like a little thicker handle. And then, a barrel is regular size. Standard bat, 34-32. Felt it, liked it, got a couple knocks with it. I used that exact same model for my entire career. Never altered from it. A lot of guys are very similar to that, where it just feels right. Golf, I say this all the time. Golf is where we get a lot of our tech from. Yeah. Whether it's hitter's tech, whether it's pitcher's tech. Golf, you get fitted for clubs. The drivers have been improving. The face of a driver is actually curved, and that's something that they've changed over the last years. And so it was only a matter of time before something like this happened, in my opinion. because we get all of our tech from golf essentially, and they've been doing it. You get fitted for clubs. So that's why I have a problem with like the pitchers being like, it was McGill from the Brewers. Obviously not a great series for them. He said it looks like a slow pitch softball bat. That's not a slow pitch softball bat, is just one long thing. So it doesn't look like that. And number two, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Pitchers already have a whiny rep, and now you just made it even worse. I don't know, man. Yeah. I can't with the pitchers.
I think the other thing you need to just walk away with that we've said before, every team can use these bats. There are other guys using these bats.
Probably on the Brewers.
Yeah, I think there's two guys on the Brewers just sheepishly like hiding their bat. Like, yeah, what the hell, huh? No, it's that McGill quote. I don't know if he'd want that back at this point because he's like, well, it's the Yankees. They're not going to do anything. Like, okay, come on. That's
signs with the Yankees next year.
Yeah, right. Like, okay. Devin Williams, former Brewers closer. Weird opening day for him. Yeah, if the Yankees didn't mash, it wouldn't have gotten talked about. They mashed all weekend. I think Rob just put it up there. They had as a team a 1.23 OPS, something like that. Judge hit 4 homers. Jazz hit 3. 129 on the season for the Yanks. So, hey, the short porch did come into play a lot. That Saturday game, Nestor just got destroyed. And yeah, I'm excited for the Yanks. They had really good at bats, and hey, maybe the torpedo bat for the guys using that is good, and maybe this is going to open up the conversation for more baseball. Because like you're saying, for a lot of baseball players, it's like, well, give me a good bat. Maybe they have a day where it's. I think the different types of wood have always been interesting to me, like maple, ash, that stuff, blah blah blah. But a lot of these baseball players kind of just want to grip it and rip it, and you want a bat that feels good because you're trying to do the hardest thing in sports. That maybe this is going to open up a bunch of dudes' eyes and being like, well, maybe I should be using something different.
So okay, yes, agreed with that. And the barrel is something it's new, but toying with bats and shapes that's been around. The axe bat, like the handle, that's something that came in maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, right. And that was weird, but people started using that, and there wasn't a huge uproar about that. The big flared knobs, you remember those?
Yeah, sure do.
That acted like as a counterbalance to the barrel, so it felt more evenly distributed, the weight. That's been around. Now guys are using the opposite of the flared knob. It's like almost no knob. At the bottom, maybe so you get a little bit more whip. So like there's been advancements and changes on bats. You mentioned the different types of wood. It used to be almost exclusively northern white ash. That's like extinct, I believe. I don't think anybody uses it in the big leagues anymore. Now it's maple, a little bit of birch. That's got a ton of flex on it. So I didn't like it because I felt like I lost my barrel in my swing, but it did go the furthest because of the whip factor. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff has been around. Torpedo bat is just, I call it the Juan Uribe, but that's for a different show.
Yeah, Trev, the other thing, I'll just put a little fear in you. The pitchers might counter. If you've got more meat on your bat up closer, like, does that mean more breaking balls away? Like, if you're Jazz Chisholm, does that mean righties are going to throw more changeups because that might go off the end of your bat? Like, it's baseball. There's always a move and a counter move. This was
such sissies.
Yeah, I know.
I'm out.
You're out and you've been out.
Derek Jeter would have hit 30 homers a year with the torpedo bat. The way he stayed inside that ball.
Hell yeah. Just keep your hands inside.
Just right there.
And that whole segment was a long way of again saying Yankees had about as good of an opening weekend as they could have. The Austin Wells, the first catcher to ever lead off for the New York Yankees, homered on opening day.
First at bat of the season for the Yankees.
Yeah. Judge, who would have beat his own home run record if he had a good April last year, is off to as good of a start as you can get. Jazz back to playing second. Everything went right for the Yanks. Everything went wrong for the Brewers. It actually might make it easier for the Brewers to wash it because it was... After the first game, it was pretty non-competitive. And the Yanks, hey, maybe the other thing that might have been better than Torpedo Bats was everyone making fun of them all off season and being like, "Oh, that stinks." Oh, we went to the World.
Made fun of a lot.
We went to the World Series. This has been my dream. Oh, we lost. My dream is ruined. Oh, everyone's making fun of us.
Juan Soto's gone.
Juan Soto's gone.
You can't play defense.
Some of those new guys had pretty good weekends, too. So did a lot of guys around the league, Coach Trev. Want to know what I love the most about baseball? It's kicking back, ordering some Coronas, and enjoying the ride. From the moment we all bailed on work for opening day to the last play of the World Series, forget how that ended last year. It's a sport where anything can happen. A team can catch fire. A player can catch fire and make a run to the promised land. For us baseball guys, there's nothing quite like sharing a Corona, relaxing, and enjoying every unpredictable moment with friends. So go ahead. Turn the cheap seats into your private island. That's like my life story. Whether you're on your back porch in a sports bar oasis for your favorite neighbors with some ice-cold Coronas, the official cerveza of Major League Baseball. Crack open a Corona, squeeze in a lime, and enjoy America's favorite pastime with Mexico's favorite present time. Get yours. Order Corona.com. 21 plus. Enjoy responsibly. Corona Extra Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois. Are you ready to talk some American League Baseball?
I am, Coach. I can't wait for this.
Oh. In the beautiful American League, the Boston Red Sox. Oh, my God. Tristan Cassis. They head down to Texas. Yeah, that name didn't work. To face the Rangers. And on opening day, a wheel year, Abreu goes nuts, ties it with a homer, and then opens it up with a homer. Here come the Sox, kid. But it was all Rangers the rest of the way. Jack Leiter was in the lab this offseason. He looked awesome. Jonah Heim, a talking baseball celebrity, 2-homer game. Adolis Garcia is back to destroying baseballs. And there's Jacob deGrom looking very good in his first outing of the year. In that outfield, Wyatt Langford and Adolis Garcia bring him back on that final day that the Texas Rangers took 3 out of 4 from the Sox. The Orioles and the Blue Jays, they split 4 in the Great North. The Orioles blew him out on opening day. Tyler O'Neill, his 11th opening day with a home run, something like that. Adley and Cedric Mullins each hit 2 taters in that game. But the Blue Jays bounced back. Kevin Gossman looked really good, Trev. He was in the lab, and your guy Bo Bichette, I don't have to tell you, and now everyone knows. Jordan Westburg, that one opened up my eyes a little bit. We kind of forgot about that guy. He has a 2-homer day in Game 3 to help them win. And then, how about Tyler Heineman goes big fly? Your guy, along with 6 innings, 1 earned run from Chris Bassett. The second baseman, Jimenez and Holiday, were fun to watch. Same name when you say it, different letters in Jimenez and Holiday. They split 4. A's and Mariners, they do the same. I don't think these are your father's A's, or maybe they are, depending how you look at it. Mariners win the bread games. They win on opening day. Jorge Polanco and Randy Arozarena, you kind of called both those guys out. They did it on opening day along with Logan Gilbert. He does it every day. In the middle, though, Osvaldo Bido, and Jeffrey Springs. That guy's really good. Along with Brent Rooker having a couple 2-hit days in the middle. But Brian Woo-Woo and Julio grabs the stretch as he hits the big 2-run homer to help them win 2-1 as they split the series. Mets-Astros, obviously Mets in the American League. Juan Soto opening up it again in Houston. Tough last at bat as the Mets were trying to rally on opening day, but the Astros, Framber Valdez, god damn, 7-inning shut piece. We're not used to that. McGill, his brother, we talked about him. He had a nice second start, and Juan Soto goes yard deep in Houston, but the Astros win the series 2-1. Spencer Ragetti, my cousin, 6 innings, 1 earned run, and Jeremy Pena with the homer. We talk Brewers, Yanks, you know what happened. The Guards go to Kansas City. You might hear more about that series later. Big Ben Lively had to step up on opening day. because Tanner Issa-Bibe had a little bit of food poisoning. We don't love that. Cleveland, they win in extras. Kyle Mansardo, what a couple games out of him this weekend. Royals, they won the second game in that series. Guardians 6-2 behind Bibee over Michael Wacha on the final game. Angels, White Sox, were you there? A lot of rain, symbolic, I don't know. White Sox, they win on opening day. Schomburg, good for you. Vargas, Benny, why not? But the Angels, they come back, they get the next two. Jose Soriano, that guy, he might enter the trade portal this summer because he is nasty. Yoan Moncada looked good this weekend too. More rain. Kyron Paris, how's your homer? They take it in the Rockies and Tampa Bay Rays. There's actually some great highlights from this series. Yandy Diaz got robbed all of Game 2 as the Rockies won 2-1 in that game. But the Rays, they won on a walk-off homer from Cameron Meisner on opening day. And Taj Bradley and B-Lau helped the Rays get it done, along with some Rockies defense. No need to talk about that. That is what happened in your American League. Yeah.
I miss those, Pop. I miss those a ton right there. A lot of ball for you.
Vin Diesel. Yeah, I was locked in this weekend. It felt good. Last year, for, I don't know, some personal reasons, just life in general was a little bit of a blur. That it was good to get locked in on some ball again. Watch the recaps in the morning. Coach, like we said, going to be a little different this year. One of the topics we want to get into, that's also the first series we started with, and was a topic this offseason, Rafael Devers. He's DHing, and we all go, yeah, okay, that's fine. It makes sense, right? They call up Christian Campbell, who he hit a homer. He looked pretty good this weekend. Devers goes 0 for 16 with 12 Ks. I think it was 0 for 10 with 10 to start, right? So it was pretty wild to see someone as good as that look that bad. I think Devers has had some slow starts previously, and his swing does have a lot of moving parts that I think it takes a little bit to come together. Devers has missed on 71% of his swings.
gosh.
Yeah. So, hey, let's give a little credit to the Texas Rangers, absolutely. And another follow-up with that, the Texas Rangers signed Jock Peterson to DH, which every time I got the opportunity, I want to say that is a skill. To sit on the bench, be able to come in and hit, that is a skill set. Trev, I guess with Devers, how much are you worried? How much is this just one bad weekend in baseball? And how much do we need to keep an eye on?
So here are a couple things. Yeah, like DH is different. I'm glad that you brought that up. And Devers, I don't think really that didn't factor into why he kind of acted the way he did when asked to get moved to DH and off of third base. I don't think he was really like, hey, man, I can't DH. Because he didn't have a ton of plate appearances DHing. So there wasn't like a huge track record of him not being able to do it. But you're right, it is a skill because it's a mental thing when you DH. When you're playing the field, you have to compartmentalize and you have to get out of your head offensively and go out there and play defense. You have to be ready for everything. So it does help mentally that way, especially if you're struggling. It's like, hey, I got to go do it on defense. You can't bring your offense out onto the field with you. And when you're DHing, you don't have that. You don't have that time. So I think that's what I'm worried about. I think the swing will figure itself out. Like he was late on a bunch of fastballs. Like he does have quite a bit of movement. The leg kick was probably a little bit late. The timing wasn't there. I think Jonathan Papelbon was saying that he looks like he needs to lose some weight. That was
whoa.
He's wild, bro. Anyways, so I don't really. The swing will be fine. There is a track record for Rafael Devers being okay. Like that'll figure itself out. But mentally, I think it could take some time with him, especially now that he's had like something like this.
Right.
Like if he went through a series and got 2 hits or 1 hit throughout the series and put the ball in play, maybe lined out once or twice, that's a completely different mindset than going 0 for 16 with 12 Ks and looking bad too, Jay. Getting blown away by heaters, having some really bad swings on breaking balls. Mentally, I think that's where I'm a little bit worried because not only are you struggling at the DH position, and you just had one of the all-time worst series offensively, in MLB history, which is
Yeah.
crazy. You also kind of got like out alphaed, right? Like,
Oh.
don't you think that was what was part of this? This is Rafael Devers' team. He's got a massive extension. He is essentially the face of the Red Sox. And then Alex Bregman comes in. And hey, bud, you're off of third base. You're gonna DH now. I think that bruised the ego a little bit. And then you put this on top of it. He's got to get that confidence back. And it's very difficult. Like the only way you get confidence back is to fake it, which is a skill you have to learn as a big league hitter, or he's got to get a knock. He's got to get jammed, or he's got to get, a bloop one in there. He's got to maybe a swinging bunt. Something has to happen just to get that first knock out of the way. Then I think he'll be okay. But mentally, that's kind of where I'm more worried about Devers that way than I am like swing mechanics and stuff like that.
Yeah. For me, it was kind of funny looking at Red Sox spring training, and Bregman hadn't played second base, and it was like, oh, okay.
Not at all.
Yeah. So it's like, okay. Because when he first signed, people were saying second base. I forget if it was the Red Sox org or just reporters around it, or if it was just the internet, but people were making some assumptions. Christian Campbell makes the team, one of the big trio, and man, those kids are ready. I think DHing can be a skill, and maybe that's something Devers is going to have to learn. Opening weekend of the year can be tough in general. Like, there's some other good baseball. You mentioned Lindor went 0 for 11. It didn't look like this, and that's part of the worry, because Devers, it was off. And I think the thing that's more concerning to me is that Devers has had shoulder issues.
Yes.
And his swing speed was down. And again, it could be the opening weekend. He went from 69th in swing percentile swing speed to 60th. And again, maybe that's the swing just being disconnected. Maybe the legs and the arms and everything's not lined up, that could be it. Maybe there's more with the shoulders there, or maybe that was part of his thought process of liking playing third base, is being active and staying loose, that maybe the shoulders can get tight on it. I don't know. The fact that I'm someone speculating in that realm is crazy that we've gotten to this point after one weekend of games, but that's what I want to track. Like, ball players are going to have bad weekends. Devers takes such big daddy hacks. It's so fun to watch. And his timing and the rhythm was clearly off. And hey, maybe like Nate Eovaldi is a guy that messes with guys' rhythm. Like, maybe he deserves some credit, and maybe that started a bad series. And hey, Jack Leiter changed up his mix a little bit, and that was a tough at bat. And I saw one side wide and lefty in there that looked like a bad time. That maybe that was it. The truth usually is it's all of this. And I just think if you're a Boston fan, hey, you guys played some great games with Texas over the weekend. That series could have went either 5-2, 4-1, 4-3, 3-2. Those games could go any direction on one player or the other. It would have been nice to have Rafi Devers looking like himself, because if he had put up a 5 for 16, what does this series look like? That if you're Devers, they're going to face the Orioles next. He's going to see some familiar faces. Eflin and Morton are lined up for the second games. And then they're heading back to Boston. That I guess if I'm Devers, I'm washing that. I'm saying, let's get a couple on the board, that by the time I get to Boston, I want that story gone. Because that's when any good, passionate fan base can start reacting in different ways. We've seen the Trey Turner standing ovation. We've also seen fan bases get loud and aggressive the other way. So you just can't have it get to that point.
There's a documentary on Netflix about the Alex Bregman standing ovation. Gotta love sports. I actually watched it. It was actually pretty good. 15 plate appearances for Devers in spring training. So, like, there's a lot of things. Timing is something that you have to, figure out. It's clearly not there. But I do think, give some credit to the Rangers for playing a great series. You mentioned the pitchers out there. We're going to talk about deGrom in a little bit. But Costas also struggled this series. The Red Sox didn't hit with runners in scoring position, so you have to give credit to like you said, the Rangers pitching staff. And then for them, it was Adolis Garcia, Wyatt Langford show, and they didn't have to. You mentioned the scores. They didn't. Did they score more than 4 runs in a game? I don't think they did. And they ended up winning 3. That's great for the Rangers. Who Rangers fans will point out, because I think the common thought with the Rangers was they slugged their way to a World Series, and the Rangers fans will say, no, they didn't. They played good ball. They pitched. They figured out the bullpen. There was a lot of things going into that. It wasn't just them slugging their way to the World Series. So they don't want to be known as that, Jake, as a team that only slugs.
Well, like you mentioned, deGrom came back, which is a guy that whenever we talked about him, I kind of threw up my shoulders in frustration that I think a lot of people are in that boat, that it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, was this guy for 2 years, was 3 years as dominant as a pitcher as baseball's ever seen. And then the injuries picked up, and then I remember when he signed with the Rangers, we were all blown away. He comes back, and I think he's now openly talked about dialing it back a little bit. Like, I saw fastballs at 97, and it's like, oh, that's okay. Man, he's someone we haven't been able to factor into a lot of seasons recently. 5 innings, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 2 walks, 73 pitches. If Jacob deGrom is here, it's part of the reason the Texas Rangers had a preseason hype train, because it was like, what if deGrom clicks in? What if Wyatt Langford is one of the best players in baseball? Jake Berger hitting deep in that lineup. I've been impressed. I thought they were going to be the best lineup in baseball. I just ignored my Yankees. Sorry. I guess deGrom, is there anything you saw there, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, he threw his changeup more often than usual, only 15% of the time, but going back to even his starts last year was like 5% of the time. And I think that is him being aware that maybe it's time to kind of make a change as we see pitchers get older. Instead of let's max effort everything, let's blow guys away with my heater, let's rip a bunch of heavy sliders there. I think he understands, hey, I got to like maybe mix my pitches up a little bit here. I believe all 6 of his strikeouts were on off-speed pitches, which is, I don't know what that means, if it's going to continue. But again, I think the changeup was really good. And I think seeing that and having success with it might spark something, a change in him, saying, I've been injured, obviously. We got to figure something out. So if that means I got to get a little bit more creative with my pitch mix, if I got to dial it back and let's go spot hunting instead of just trying to blow guys away. The velo was down a little bit, but I feel like it was by design.
Right.
If that's what it's gonna take for Jacob deGrom to be out there for 25 starts, let's do it, dude. Because he looked great. He didn't have to rear back and blow guys away. And guess what? If he wants to do that in a big situation, a la Justin Verlander, do people remember what Justin Verlander used to do?
Right. I do.
He used to sit 95, 96 in the first couple innings, and then you'd get to like the 6th inning, and all of a sudden he'd rear back and throw 100 out of nowhere. Like, if Jacob deGrom needs to do that, like that path, let's do it, man. Because I want to see him out there. He looked nasty. Still mad at him for big league and jolly, but
right.
If you pitch like this, do whatever you want.
I think we've come around on that because he big leagued Eno too. So if you're
I'm
I'm
kind of sick of jolly. So
yeah, I watched the closest to the pin video.
Yeah, me too. That's when I got sick of him.
Chris Rose and Jolly at spring training. Go check it out. It's a great, well done video. But yeah, just a little. I mean, Jolly.
It's getting a little cocky.
Last year was the year of Jolly, and it was going this way. And I
got to bring him down now.
I think the league's adjusting. We're a couple more breaking balls. Like you're not getting that 2-0 heater anymore, Jol. He'll probably be on this show soon. Actually, we're going to be live in Chicago on Thursday, so maybe I got to be careful about that. Me, Bobby Golfs, Jolly Olive, we will be outside of Wrigley at the DraftKings Sportsbook there doing a live show, I think 5:30 Thursday. So yeah, if you're in Chicago, come through, be there with Jolly. We have a party full you can RSVP to say you're coming. It is 21 plus because it's a casino and there's drinks there, or sportsbook, and there's drinks there. Should be a good time the day before opening day at Wrigley, and then we'll be at opening day at Wrigley. So give the fist bump and say, let's go ball. NL?
It's time.
We're starting out with my Arizona Diamondbacks, who split 4 games with the Cubbies. Fun series. The Boom Six came out on both sides, including Eugenio Suarez, who had a big weekend. Ian Happ and the Cubbies was excited for them to win that first game 10-6. Back over from playing in Japan. Shota, shove. Brandon Pfaadt, we love some new money. Congrats to the kid on getting paid. And congrats to the Snakes. About to lose 3 out of 4 to the Cubbies, and they put 8 up in the 8th, including Lourdes Gurriel with the home run to tie it. Trev, the San Diego Padres swept 4 from the Atlanta Braves. Whoa. And it was on all fronts. It started with the offense on opening day. Manny, Fernando, Kevin Sheets. Welcome to the team, pal. Big pinch hit homer. Couple big pinch hits in this game. But then the Padres shut them down. The final 2 games held the Braves to 0 runs. Randy Vasquez, 6 clean. Nick Pivetta, full pension piv, baby. As Hernando, the check swing double to start that game. My goodness. How about San Diego? Long off season for them, too. People forget. In Atlanta, they get punched in the teeth early on. Speaking of, the Marlins take 3 out of 4 from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they were all in walk-off fashion. On opening day, they survived the Skeens Alcantara game. Kyle Stowers with the walk-off RBI single. Hey, Pittsburgh won. Mitch Keller, O'Neill Cruz with a big game. But then it's all Miami. Griffin Conine on the day his father's number gets retired. I mean, that's some Game of Thrones type stuff there. Dane Myers with big games. Otto Lopez. The Fish. They did it this opening weekend. I don't know how many times we're going to talk about them this year. I know who we are going to talk about. The Dodgers. They sweep the Tigers. Opening day, Skubal versus Snell. That was a lot of fun. Man, they go down 2-0 in these final 2 games. I'll be honest, I made a little money at the DraftKings Sportsbook because you just live bet them because they're going to win because they have a great offense, they have a great bullpen, they have a great rotation, and they all showed up. The Mookie Betts game 2, with his walk-off. He looks fine. Phillies Nats. Phillies take 2 out of 3 on the road, including opening day and extras. Boom! With the big hit to help break it open. The Phillies, they go nuts in that second game, too. Baby Jesuses. Luzardo's first start for them. He looks sharp. All the lefties. Stott, Marsh, Schwarber. They go big fly. The Nats, they salvage it on the final day. Mitchell Parker with a fantastic start. Josh Bell and Nathaniel Lowe. How do you like that? 2 early settler names? Sneaky there? Josh Bell?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah, we'll talk about that in length. This was my dirty little secret bowl, the Giants and the Reds, baby. I like both of these teams, but I don't want to tell people about it. Giants, they win that first game 6-4. Wilma Flores goes big fly to help win that one. He homers the next day, but so did Matt McClain and Christian Encarnacion Strand as they beat Justin Verlander 3-2 in that game. But the Reds win on getaway day. Robbie Ray, he looked fantastic until he got knocked around at the end. Elliot Ramos was all over the series. Jung-Hoo Lee, good to see him balling out for them. And you know Matty Chapman's there. And then, yeah, I guess this final series, it looks like the Cardinals swept the Twins. Not sure what this is all about. Lars Nootbaar, Nolan Arenado, Fetty Wap. Big series in St. Louis, a team that had a tough offseason, a fun opening weekend, a little bit of a nightmare for Bailey Ober in that final game. Pedro Pajes, I see you. Victor Scott, tough one for the Twins. That's what happened in the National.
I knew you were going to go there.
What?
I knew you were going to go there. My Twins got swept. In fact, there's 4 teams that are winless right now in baseball. It's the Twins, it's the Brewers, it's the Tigers, and it's the Braves. I have 3 out of 4 of those teams making the playoffs right now as we're looking at the standings. It's early. That's what I'm going to say right now. Rangers. Okay, let me look at this. 3-0 Cards.
Yep.
The Marlins are in first place in
Yep.
the East. Dodgers are 5-0. Padres. That's I want that to happen, Jake. I know you talked about the Padres in their offseason. A lot of people did write them off. There's trade rumors about two of their top pitchers. What's Yu Darvish going to do? Is Tatis back? They looked freaking unbelievable against the Bravos. So 2 undefeated teams out west. It's going to be a bloodbath. I think there's going to be some really good races at the end of the year. I know we're 1 series in, 2 series in for some teams, but my gosh, I really do believe that we're going to see a bunch of teams fighting it out at the end of the season, Jake. It's going to be fun.
Well, it's the beauty of the wild card, right? Like I know we kind of do this weird thing where we talk about, does it bring, in a way it brings too many teams into it, and we complain about front offices not going all in, because why would you? If 86 or 89 gets you into the dance, why would you pay for that extra $25 million player?
So you make sure you get into the dance.
So you get into the dance and you win. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it also, every year at the end of the year, we have done a head tilt where we're like, there's like 3 or 4 more teams that are in the race that has made the regular season more fun.
Yes.
That's been good, and I've still enjoyed the playoff product. So, I guess we're
Billy Ober was sick, bro. Don't.
What?
He shouldn't have pitched.
Okay, well that's on you.
Jeez.
You're connected in that Twins franchise. You should have pulled the plug on it.
What's actually funny is he had a horrible start in his first start last year against the Royals where he gave up, I think, 8 runs.
Yeah.
And then he just crushed it the rest of the season. Maybe this will be it for him.
That's it. Today's episode is sponsored by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Life's a trip, so why not make the most of it with over 4,000 hotels worldwide? Best Western is there for every detour, destination, and unexpected turn along the way. Whether you're hitting the road, traveling for work, or chasing the next big game, there's a room waiting for you. But a great stay isn't about rest, it's about what comes next. Because travel isn't always predictable, but that's what makes it great. Best Western is there for every wrong turn that leads to the right story, every unplanned turn that becomes a highlight, and every moment that makes a lasting memory. So stay out a little later, take the scenic route, and make the most of the ride. Ready to get going on your next adventure? It's waiting for you at Best Western. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at bestwestern.com. All right, Coach. I want to try one of our new segments this year. It's the Road Warriors, brought to you by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at bestwestern.com. Who were the road dogs this week, Trev? There was a couple that jumped out to me. I mentioned my dirty little secret, the Giants, the Fightin' Phils. I think you have another team that some of the clips from this series were wild.
It was good baseball, and that was the Cleveland Guardians going in and taking 2 out of 3 from the Kansas City Royals, who had those powder blue unis they wore on opening day were something else, man. Seeing Vinny homer in that game was something. But the Guardians, again, took the series, and there's one guy in particular I feel like I really kind of want to highlight here. And that's our guy, Manzardo. I believe there was a throwaway line by me in our Guardians TPP where I said, incoming Kyle Manzardo, 30 homer season. And I was joking. But he looked great, number one. Had a couple big hits, couple homers in this series. He's got such an interesting swing. And I feel like it's changed a little bit from last year. It's such like an old school baseball swing. Like if you just put his video and had a worse camera and make it look like it was from the 1950s. But yeah, that's a 1950s swing right there. It's very, very interesting to me. He's not one of the new age guys with all like the flair and, he just looks like an old school ball player. And with Manzardo, most of his damage, if not all of it, was against left-handed pitchers. Jake, last year, he only had 20 plate appearances against lefties where he had a 566 OPS. It was by design. They were keeping him, platooning, keeping him away from lefties. This year, 4 for 5 against them with 2 homers. He's 3 dotting it. And he's just getting the chance to get the job done. So he got one off Reagan's and was just able to. I don't know if this is like a new thing that's going to continue to happen for him, but this is how you get more bats against the same side right here. You go out and put the work in, and that's exactly what he did. But it was an interesting series. Not only for Manzardo and him being able to face lefties, but that first game I thought was awesome. Vinny goes and puts the Royals up 3-0 with that big homer. Love that for him. The Guardians come back. Vinny starts off the ninth, gets Clase, hits a double off him. They end up tying the game. And then it was the same old story for the Guardians in extra innings. It was who's going to step up, who's going to get the big hit with runners in scoring position. This time it was Stephen Kwan, the top line. He had a great series as well. He hit a ball in the gap in right center, and Hunter Renfroe, who's a pretty dang good outfielder out there, just took a bad route to it. And he got tested all series long, by the way. And he has one of the better arms.
Yeah, he had a shot at Carlos Santana on a close one.
There was like 3 sac flies to him that he just wasn't really close. So that's interesting to see. But on that Kwan ball, it kind of took a bad route to it, and Cleveland ended up coming and snatching that game from them to open the series. Game 2 was, the Sal Perez game, I'll call it. A couple 2-out RBIs, threw a couple base runners out. That was when Jose Ramirez hurt his hand on the slide right there. He was absolutely gunned down by Sal Perez on that. I think that's what started that whole slide. He was out by so much. He was trying. I think he was trying to do the swim move, and his hand just got caught there, and he sprained it, which is not good for them. Bobby Witt had a really, really good at bat against Gaddis.
Was that when he got on top of that high fastball?
RBI double for the lead, man. It's a 1-1 changeup, I believe it was.
I'm thinking of a different at bat. I was really impressed. I forget who it was against. There was a high fastball he got to that you're like, oh, a lot of guys just don't hit that, but that's Bobby Witt.
Yeah, and it was interesting series for the Cleveland bullpen, because Gaddis did get hit a couple times. Clase showed some vulnerability, and then that last game, a couple pitches up and into Jonathan India at the end there. First one was chin music. Second one actually got him in the head. It was a 4-seamer, which he doesn't ever throw. They were calling for the ball up and in. A couple just got away from him there, but Guardians go on the road, take 2 or 3 from a division rival. It's a good start for the Guardians, a team that a lot of people wrote off. The over-under for them was in the 80s, I believe.
Yeah, low 80s.
And we crushed the over on that. And right now, 2-1.
Yeah, and going on the road, your opening day starter gets scratched. Here's Ben Lively, ready to twirl it.
Shout out.
Another Talkin baseball celebrity. But yeah, and that was fun, man. And that Kansas City crowd, they love baseball, and I think they kind of hate the Guards. And there was some serious boos at the end of that series. There was some close calls and stuff.
I think they were booing Clase.
Yeah, because he hits India in the dome. But it was an intense game, man. And that AL Central, I know I like to mock you for it. I think that race again should be electric, because I don't know how you separate those teams.
Well, Guardians doing what they always do. I mentioned just who's going to step up. So Ramirez gets hurt. Gabriel Arias comes in, goes 2 for 3. He hits a homer. Manzardo was that guy all series long. And then Joey Weimer this for me, Daniel Schneemann.
Daniel Schneemann.
He hits a homer. He has 3 walks. Like, this is what they do. Everybody can do something on their team, and they step up, man. They hit with runners and scoring position. It's what they do.
Coach, we've got more players and teams that'll get highlighted along the way. Let's go to standout performances. This guy stood out. Who do you got?
I'm going to go down to the desert, Coach. Your Snakes. I'm going to go my guy Gino. Eugenio Suarez on Friday. Went 2 for 4 with 2 homers, 4 runs driven, and he has 4 hits on the season, Jake. All homers.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Why not?
He also made some good plays at third base, but I'm happy when he does well. He just seems like a good guy. Love the swing. He got Jamison Tyone, a Talking Baseball ledge. He got him twice in one game, and I believe all 4 homers were on different pitches: sweeper, cutter, changeup, fastball. So getting it done, like I said, 4 hits, 4 homers for our guy Gino. So I wanted to highlight him a little bit. I love when he does well.
Yeah, just a reminder if you forgot, he had a very slow start last year, and then he was one of the best players in baseball. He had a 668 OPS in the first half last year. He had a 942 in the second half last year. And he's a guy that whenever we come across him, we're always like, wait, who really is this guy? 280 career homers.
Yeah, he's gonna get 300 this year.
Like
that's a massive number.
That's a massive.
This is what let me do my math for people.
Okay.
300 homers is 30 a year for 10 straight years.
Yeah. That 49 year helped him out, but yeah, he's got a lot of 30s up there, and he's still feels like he's peaking from the end of last year into this season. Has been a great add for Arizona. Looks like they traded for him from Seattle. Okay.
Dude, he's listed 5'11" now on Baseball Reference. Guarantee if we went back to last year, he was 6 foot.
Yeah. Yes, he was a height change guy. He was and in the wrong direction. But it doesn't matter because he bangs. Remember the Reds threw him back at shortstop for 1 year? What was that? I'm gonna give myself an asterisk because I'm gonna give out a half standout because I missed it on the way through, and I may make Rob get the video, maybe not now, but Dansby Swanson made a game-winning defensive play that I don't know if I've ever seen. If you haven't seen it, Dansby, there's a chopper, it gets past the third baseman, Dansby snares it. Garrett Hampson, one of the fast base runners, is rounding third aggressively, the tying run. And I think he's reacting to the third baseman just getting off the line a little bit because that's normally who you'd be looking at. And the third baseman's momentum's going away. But Dansby, with the ball, is coming in. And Dansby foot races him, beats him to the bag for the final out of the game. It's one of those, we always start laughing when we wonder how defensive WAR is accumulated. I don't know how you accumulate that one because that might have won them a game.
I got some defensive stuff coming up later in the show too, but yeah, that's an incredible play. I believe the third base coach was possibly sending him, like saying, "Hey, he's going to try to throw this, and you're going to score right here. Let's be super aggressive." And Dansby, the entire time, like as soon as that ball is hit, he knows he's not going to first base. That's Corbin Carroll running.
Yes,
it's not going to happen. And so he kind of fakes the throw a little bit with one of his eyes. He even said split vision after the game. That's what he said. One of his eyes on the third base runner, peeked over there and just saw him. Hey, you're way too far off. Ran over, applied the tag. Dansby's he's a player, man.
Yeah, man. I know the OPS compared to some of the other shortstops, and everyone kept saying 5 years ago his arm strength wasn't enough to stay at short, and it just seems like he wins Gold Gloves and makes game-winning plays. He is not my official standout. My official standout is your guy, Nick Pivetta. One of the sneakier signings of this offseason. I think sometimes it's winter meeting and we get caught up in what each team is doing, and if you don't get your work done early, we kind of get frustrated. This team and organization was clearly going through a lot that they brought in Nick Pivetta at the end of it. And as much as I'm an ERA guy, and some people that frustrates them because we do have other stats and FIP and WHIP, and there's a lot that goes into the equation. Fenway Park has never helped a pitcher's ERA. And that's where Pivetta has now been since 2020. He got traded over there. And it was always this, he moves to the rotation, he goes to the bullpen, he's dominant in the bullpen. Do you make him a bullpen guy? That third pitch, is it there some days? It's not. Last year, the past 2 years, he threw a little over 140 innings to the tune of a 4.09 ERA. And the the FIP was in the same ballpark, excuse me. San Diego's just a better place to pitch. It's not even going into defensive profiles or anything. Just the mindset of if you put one ball in the bad spot at Fenway, it can ruin your day instantly. San Diego's not known that way. He goes out his first start against the Braves. By the way, San Diego's been doing pretty good pitching-wise the past couple years. 7 innings pitched, 1 hit, 0 walks, 4 Ks. Pivetta, his signing for me, there was a lot of momentum for the other teams in the NL West. Dodgers signing everyone. Snakes, Corbin Burns in some big moves. The Giants, Willie Adames in some big moves. Them getting Pivetta to make their rotation feel a little more whole, I think is going to be massive for them this season, and it was this opening weekend.
Yeah, you could look at him as an innings eater, or you can look at him as a guy that has more potential. If you look at what he does as a pitcher, he is a fly ball pitcher, and a lot of those fly balls are pulled. So obviously you're talking about Fenway and the Monster, and that didn't help him at all. And then go down to Petco, and it's a little bit more fly ball pitcher friendly. So I do like the signing. And what was it? 4 years, 44, I believe.
You're right around there.
I'm on it. It's close.
55 mil for 4 years, with opt-outs after 26 and 27. So
it's a great signing for San Diego.
Great. Some of the pitching numbers we see, like Pivetta can
until next start. If he gets hit, then we'll say something different.
Well, those
he's not going to though.
Those illegal bats the Yankees are using. DraftKings hoops fans, you already know it's been the most exciting month of college basketball, and we're heading into the final weekend. And baseball's rolling. I've been getting in on the live action. DraftKings has everything. Couple pitch speed bets. Got to be careful with that, but if you know what's coming. Right now, all new customers who bet just $5 will get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you use code Talkin. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use code Talkin. Bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code Talkin only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Baseball. All right, let's wrap it up in traditional fashion. Hit our favorite button on that board.
Awards.
Coach?
I'm going to give out the No Wasted Movement Award. I do a silly thing every once in a while, Jake, and I don't know where this came from, but I'll live a day in my life, and I'll try to do everything, simple tasks, everything, even speaking, with no wasted movements. That means if I'm going into a drawer trying to get a fork, well, I'm pulling the drawer out, I'm grabbing the fork, my steps are there, everything, man. I just don't want any fumbles, no wasted movement. I don't know. It sounds like you have also experienced this. Maybe it's not just a me thing.
Minimal.
I want to do everything perfect. I don't want to fumble for the light switch. Let me hit it. Boom. One fell swoop. Let me open that refrigerator. Let me get what I need. I'm not fumbling around. I know exactly where I'm going. Okay. If you haven't done it, I'd suggest trying to do it. I think it's a really fun game to play. You're in competition with yourself. Can I be perfect with my movements today? In baseball, there's a lot of that. You don't want wasted movement in your swing. You don't want wasted movement on defense. You want to be perfect. And you do these things over and over and over again so you can be perfect. And you do not waste the movement, because wasted movement is death in the big leagues. We had a play that was like during the games, it wasn't that exciting, but I was watching this game live and I was like, that is an unbelievable play, and I need to highlight it on Talking Baseball. It was Blue Jays, Orioles. I believe it was O'Hearn hits a ball down the line, and George Springer goes and gets it. Man on first base, only one out. Look at this play, getting up, cutting the ball off, getting right back to his feet. Watch this. Watch this angle right here. He dives for it. Full extension. Gets right up, no waste movement, and throws an absolute seeds. Holds the runner at third base right there. If there's any wasted movement, he's scoring from first base. Okay, now he holds the guy to a double, holds the guy on third base, one out. They don't score that inning. There was a strikeout and then a pop-up. You want to talk about defensive war and outs above average or defensive runs saved? Isn't that one? Does that count as one? Is it 1.5? I don't know what it is. But that play right there, like, that is an incredible, it could be a game-saving play, whatever it is. I mean, you just don't see that often. A right fielder going out there, laying out, cutting that ball out, kind of like a feet first / dive, getting right up, firing a strike. The infielders were in the right positions right there for I believe it was a double cut-ish. I saw that play and I was like, plays like that need to be highlighted more throughout games because that's baseball right there. It's not, let's show all the homers, let's show the strikeouts. That play in particular changed the course of the game. That's the stuff that we need to be highlighting. So I wanted to make sure I did it. George Springer also hit a homer this series. I want to see him do well. I've always liked watching him play. And he gets the first award of the year. The No Wasted Movement Award goes to my guy, George Springer. Congrats, big fella.
I love it, Coach. I mean, George Springer, 37.5 career WAR, 4-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger, World Series MVP. And yeah, hey, this Blue Jays season that I do truly feel is just a massive year for the franchise. Seeing 35-year-old George, what would you call that, a hook slide into the corner? Because he's fielding that behind his body so he can pop up and throw. That the timing on that
purpose.
has to be perfect.
Dude, plants that right foot right in the ground and just hammers that throw. And again, even a weak throw or a throw that's offline,
right?
There's no wasted movement. Bam.
Yum.
Love that. That's a baseball play.
Gets it in the Platinum Club. Andres Jimenez, who made a couple big plays this weekend. Big year in Toronto. Coach, great. It's a great award. I'm giving out the Caviar Award. Caviar Award.
Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah, I know. I have your attention. And yeah, you might have to correct me because I don't really know what I'm talking about. But I believe, Trev, caviar is fish eggs, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sturgeon.
Well, Mr. Marlin just got his number retired. Jeff Conine.
I just got the joke.
And that's great. We love that. Jeff Conine, what a stud. What a man. Jeff Conine just puts you in a headlock. And I don't know how well behaved Griffin Conine was as a boy, but he's on the Marlins playing the corner outfield for them, and he homers on the day. Can you imagine, Trev? I'm not a dad yet. We're, one day, maybe. His number gets retired. You're a Miami legend forever. Your son is playing for the team that day, and he goes big fly. Man, I have to imagine it doesn't get much cooler than that. He also, I think he robbed a sick home run this weekend, too. A big weekend for the Conine men. And, yeah, the fish egg performed when Daddy Fish was getting his honor. I thought that was pretty cool.
I like that, the fish egg. No, it's incredible. Yes, I have a son. He plays baseball. I can't even imagine the feeling of getting inducted into the Hall of Fame as yourself and then seeing your fish egg go out there and do it. I bet he liked that even better than getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. That's the truth. There is a little weird, there's always a little bit of rivalry between sons and their dads. I actually didn't really have that with my dad. I never really felt like I was competing with him, but that does happen a lot. I think Teddy feels that way with me for sure.
Oh boy.
I'm still in the stage where I don't let him win yet.
No.
I'm not gonna give that. I don't think I can anymore. He's getting a little bit too good. But yes, that I actually saw that and almost started to tear up because I know the feeling right there. Even when I see Teddy take a walk in his Sunday league games, I'm like, I'm so proud of you, bro.
I'm proud of you, Trev. Congrats to the Conines. Congrats to the Plouffe. Congrats to everyone. Baseball is back. Let us know. It was great to be back. We're going to be back Wednesday. There's a live show Thursday. New Ep Friday. Big week. I stink. Can't wait to see you guys there along the way. Baseball's back.
Ryan's filthy. Don't worry about him. Don't worry about my Twins.
Tyler Soderstrom mentioned. He played great this weekend.
Yeah, who did we miss? Everybody.
So many. They're going to let us know. And I want to know. I want to feel it.